it started.
Right?
So what do you want to talk about?
Today, probably the James Carville interview I saw again on him today on YouTube. He was on Morning Joe today, and man, it's a pretty good interview, and I think everyone should go watch it. This is his second one where he's been like very concerned with one. He called it a moral imperative to get rid of Trump, and I mean the undertone is like you can just tell by his energy that he doesn't think that the Democrats have any shot whatsoever of doing this. And what's super interesting about it is he's bringing up the Labour Party in UK. And why that's interesting is because what's going on between the UK politics and the US politics, it's eerily similar, and the Brits are just a little bit ahead of us. And it's a Western thing that's going on. And and the reason why I say that is because one of James Carville's problems that he's not, his blind spot, it seems to me, is he doesn't understand that this culture war that is gripping the West, the left has taken, the DNC has taken one side, and they're the most vocal, and it's so off-putting to people. It's just so off-putting that the Democrats are going to lose politically because of the cultural side they're on. And because of other things, like the Democrats are unlucky that the Republicans are doing so well in this time with the economy. Like, who would have thought that Trump's unemployment would be so low and the economy would be doing well and all these different things? And people are like, that's good enough for most people. And then when they see this culture war of, I mean, the left and Hollywood and the media and everything, it's the losing side politically. It might be the right side or the wrong side, I don't fucking know, but it's the losing side right now. Labor just got demolished in Britain. Demolished. And that's what's probably going to happen here in the US. And then they're going to scratch their head because they didn't learn anything, because they don't see it, and they're going to do exactly what Labor did. And they're going to say stupid things like, well, we won the argument, but we lost the election. And I guarantee you something like that's going to be said by the Democrats when they get just destroyed by Trump. They're forcing people to vote for Trump because they don't see their blind spot of, hey, we got to take this culture war down a notch. We got to figure this out. And even Carville was talking about it. He doesn't want to join a cult and all these things, but they really got to get out there. And what I think is, I'm afraid it's too late. I don't think the Democrats have a chance whatsoever of winning this election. You just look at all the commentators' face and the energy and everything that they bring to it. There's not even a sense of hope. Not even a sense of hope, and that's dangerous. And that's why he's panicking. And he even said it. He's like, look at the way we talk to each other. But they're not diagnosing what's really going on. And I think it's because we're in this weird part where culture, politics, economics, and all of these different things are so intertwined through the last 40 years of just bullshit that the government and everything's kind of piled on, that we're reaching this like breaking point. And the Democrats just find themselves on one side right now that just, I don't know, it's uncomfortable to watch. And that's what he's concerned about. And that's why you have the candidates you have. And that's why Labor just got demolished. And I don't think the Democrats here see it coming. So, I mean, that's what I talk about. That's it.
Yeah, we've been talking for 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah.
Was it any good?
Yeah.
I mean, was it not?
I mean, you're pretty.
Did it make sense at all?
You look good. Yes, it did. I have no idea what you were talking about. An interview or something?
Yeah.
An interview of whom?
James Carville.
Who is he?
Yeah, he's like a Democratic strategist.
What does it mean?
He's a high up Democrat. Very well.
I have no idea.
James Carville?
Yeah.
Are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. So James Carville he's the raging Cajun, and I mean, how I know him is he's a Democratic strategist, and Clinton, I think, is when he was on the scene, and he married a Republican strategist, and they're two high power. So they had this like, it's a really good marketing thing. Like, good for them. And he's a Democrat, so he likes the politics aspect of it, bringing things together. I mean, he's not an ideal. How do you say that? Ideologue, and that's what he just said in the Joe Scarborough interview. But he's kind of an old school. He's like a 80s, 90s, 2000 Democrat, and that's his idea of politics. And he doesn't like this idea of revolution and just revolution. That's not what he's about. He's about political stability and winning ideas through coalitions and things like that. But I understand. I mean, if you take a step back and you think about where he's coming from, it makes sense for who he is. But you can also see some of these younger people who have been force-fed all this stuff about climate change, and they saw like 08, 09, they see their student loans, and they're like, forget all that, like, I've got my own concerns, and I don't need that political system that had some responsibility to get where we are today. So they're like, screw it, feel the burn, let's get out of here. Or not let's get out of here, but let's start over. And then what sucks about those people, which I completely understand where they're coming from, is they're young and they don't really know what they're talking about. And it seems that way. I mean, there's a lot of these young kids in college and stuff, they're speaking like they have any concept of doing anything, and they're barely in class. And I mean, you can't tell a 19 or 20-year-old like they don't know shit, because when I was 19 and 20, like I thought I knew everything too. So, I mean, I understand them from that too, but you just have such.
You're not considering the option that they are right. The kids might be right. I mean, not everybody who's 90 years old is wise and gentle.
Okay, well, let me say this. I don't really know how to answer that question, except for, do I think they are right when they say they're getting screwed? Yes. Very much so, in a lot of different things. Do I think they've completely diagnosed why they're getting screwed and the mechanisms of how they're getting screwed correctly? No. I think it's a lot more nuanced.
Okay.
I mean, I can't imagine growing up in the world they grew up in, starting when they did. Like, all of a sudden they were born in 1995 and they grew up in this world that's radically different than everyone did before them. So of course they have a different view on things, which, I mean, who's right or wrong, I don't know. But I think they're really missing some wisdom, because no one has lived their experience with the technology from the very beginning to the end. So that's just going to be there's some wisdom that's going to have to just take some time to get with technology. And they don't have it yet, I think.
We ended up with something completely different that you started with, right?
What is that?
I don't know. You started talking about the Democrats.
Yeah.
And we ended up with kids.
Well, it's political, because not kids, but anyone, let me guess a range, between 20 and 30, easy. Between 20 and 30.
Young adults.
Young adults who are these millennials, they're kind of the energy behind.
I'm a millennial, so watch out.
You're a millennial?
Yeah.
They're the energy behind Bernie, and they're the energy behind a lot of these new thinkers. And what I'm saying is, I think they have a lot of reasons to feel like they're being screwed, which they were. This debt is insane. We're lost when it comes to how we want to interact with our environment, whether we're killing it or not. There's just, how do you interact in this world with this technology function? I mean, no one knows, no one can show them, no one can tell them. They're the first one, so there's going to be some growing pains. So I feel for them, but they don't have any wisdom, because they're just not old enough. Wisdom comes with age, and you need generation after generation to kind of play with it and try different things. I'm looking at you and this phone right now, and I don't have a grandfather and a great-great-grandfather to tell me like the pitfalls of this. They haven't done it. So we're just in some growing pains. But they're the ones fueling this division in the left party right now. And that's what Carville's really concerned about.
I really don't know what you're talking about, because if you were raised with these things, you just give it for granted. I don't really see the challenge.
What do you mean the challenge?
I don't know, the new technologies, the changing and everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just go down to the basic level of how do they interact with each other. You know, they're just looking at the screen. They're not interacting on a physical or personal level or anything with
Adults do the same.
Adults do the same thing right now. Yeah, I mean, how many memes are out there of us wasting our life just staring at a screen? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Social media. What did Facebook do to them growing up? Like, I didn't have Facebook in high school. I can imagine what could happen there. That seems awful. It seems like an awful thing to have to contend with. So that's what I meant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, episode.